Well, hello. This is the beginning of my video. So, as many of you know who I am, many of you have met me at many of the art shows that I've done, and I keep promising that I was going to put together a video, a YouTube channel where I start showing you how I do what I do. Well, this is it. I am now about to show you what I do. Obviously, I start with a canvas, and I set it down on a flat. I've already taken several paints and I've watered them down so that they're very liquid. They're my background's, most of my stuff is marine oriented, and therefore I have water as my main background. I have many different colors and shades here. Instead of, as most people do, where they take your paints and they put it out with brushes and they mix it and they get their blends, I let it blend naturally, because when you're in the water, that's really kind of how it is. You got the colors of the coral, you got the different colors of the water, the thickness of the water, the sun coming through the water, the shadows that are happening. So you have all that going on. And I have found that the best way to capture that is to start with water. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to have some turquoise. I really like the turquoise. But I'm going to start with this thicker stuff. This is a thin paint, and it has not been thinned. I'm going to start with just throwing some of that out. The reason I want to throw this out is because it's going to help the paint stay. It's going to help the paint and keep it from, hopefully, keep it from coming off the page. Okay, so as you can see, I have some thickness there. So we're hoping that it doesn't spread all over the place. And the bottom of your paint of the ocean, usually as you go deeper, it gets darker. So we got some darker unwatered down paint, though it's a thin paint, that we're going to put around here. And you can see I've got it just kind of splattered around. Now we're going to take some other color. I'm not actually sure, because I made these up a couple days ago and I can't remember exactly the colors I got. So I'm just going to start with a little bit. Oh, there we go. That's good. That's a true blue going on here. We're going to throw this all around here and let this stuff start to blend out. Okay. Now with that said, we're now going to move to another color. And this first bit of the process is really pretty quick. I don't really spend a whole lot of time when I'm pouring my background. I mean, the whole reason I started doing my backgrounds like this was because when I first started doing the marine stuff, spending all this time painting. There's some greens that are going to go in. And I'm trying to blend. I thought, I sure spend a lot of time on my backgrounds. Maybe I shouldn't spend quite so much time on them. And so then I thought, well, how could I spend a little less time on my backgrounds and a little more time on my subjects? And the way I'm doing that is by, let's go ahead and start with throwing some background out and see what happens when this all blends together. The other cool thing about this is, if you don't really know what you want to make, as far as, I'm not really sure what my subject on this is going to be. I mean, everyone knows I do a lot of jellyfish, but I do a lot of other stuff that's, marine, and I do non-marine stuff as well. But today we're going to go with marine colors, and I'm going to go ahead and, I don't use a lot of red usually at first, and the main reason is because it blends away sometimes into some of the other colors and makes it kind of brownish. But I do want some reddish colors over here, because I'm going to do some reddish corals over here. And I'm going to show you here in a minute how this is all coming together. I'm going to take some orange, some really bright orange, because there's a lot of bright orange in corals too. We're just going to throw some of that around here. We're going to go outside the line here a little bit. And there's no rule to this. And like I said, one of the cool things is when you do this, you don't have to have a plan. You know, if you're going, I want to do it, but I don't really know what I want to make, then just start. As this stuff moves around and settles in, often it will tell you what it wants to be. You don't really have to know. Often it will go, hey, we're going to be this. And you go, wow, that is that. That is what I want it to be. I had no idea that's what I was going to make. Now, see here, we're going to go with a lot of, the surface. You get some whites, you get some yellows from the sun, and you get greens. And you know what? One of the best ways of getting greens is mixing it with blues, especially if you're trying to keep a nice blue scene going on, as you know, most things in the water are blue. It's funny how that is. Blue water. Okay, we're going to take a little bit more. I'm going to throw some of that out there, a little bit up here. Okay, now, as you can see, we got a lot of colors blending right now, and they're going to turn into colors. I put certain colors out, they're going to turn into other things. One of the other things I want to do is add some whites, a little bit of white up at the top. And do I have a white ready to go? I don't have a white ready to go, of course not. Oh, here we go. Yes, I do. Hopefully this doesn't have alcohol in it, because I do use alcohol. I take it and mix it with my paint sometimes and make some pretty cool stuff. You get some really good effects with the alcohol sometimes. This one does not look like it's alcohol because it's dry as heck on the top. And anyway, it is alcohol. Okay, well, that's going to make a difference up there that I really didn't want. But once again, like I said, let it blend. Let it turn into what it wants. Obviously, it wanted to be that way. That wouldn't have happened. Okay, now, as you see here, a little bit more of this up here, and this to dilute this alcohol out. That's kind of cool. That's going to make some good splashes, actually. But you can see how it is reacting differently. That's because water and alcohol don't really like each other. They like to separate. Okay, now we've basically got the background. There's going to be a few things I'm going to add to this background, which is more water. And we're just going to go with a little bit of clear water here, because we're going to move this around. And I say, I don't really use brushes, but in this I'm going to, because I'm trying to get this whole center area to do what I want it to do. I don't really need it to be, not like painting. I am spreading. I am just spreading. I'm going to move this around a little bit. That's going to help with the alcohol that I didn't really want to put there. And we're going to spread this, and we want to cover the entire canvas as one solid thing. As you can see, we got different colors going along here. It's already starting to blend in an interesting way. I'm going to clear off my brush. Okay, that's where we're going to leave it for right now. As you can see, it's all trying to run this way, so actually I say that's where we're going to leave it, but that's not. I'm going to put a little wedge under here of one of my old, these are just old paints. They work as some of the best wedges that I've ever had. And we're just going to wedge this up a little bit because it's all trying to run that way. Now, as you see, I have well, maybe you can't see. I don't know how my cameras are. But I have a towel down here because whenever you do this, make sure you're in a place where it doesn't matter that it spills, or that you cover the area so when it does spill, it doesn't make a big mess and you don't get in trouble with your roommates or landlords or anything like that. Because this can be a very messy style. Now, when you got this much water on it, here, I'm going to just take this over here so you can really see it. When you got this much on here, you're going to see it really moves. You can really make it move. Here. I'm not a cinematographer, so don't judge me on that. I'm gonna go up under here. Watch this stuff move. Okay, wow. See how it moves around? I can easily move all that around. Look, I'm getting move that around that way. The water really moves around because there's movement in the water. I'm gonna take that back down out of there. And that's really how it is in the ocean. So we might as well get it to move like it's in the ocean. And that's kind of where we're starting with. Now we're gonna let this sit. I'll start my video back up here after this had a chance to move around and dry a little bit. And you're gonna see it's gonna become a lot different when I come back to it. So here we go. Oh, there we go. Let me get. That should be. Let's see if I can. See how those are blending? That's all going to blend on its own naturally. And so we're going to leave it here, and we'll come back shortly.